Yeah, so let's deep dive a bit more into this competition. What's the format of this competition? What's the criteria like for this competition?
$100,000 prize.
Wow.
A search of AI tools. And of course, nuclear will be one of the fields where we will implement all the different AI tools. They've already been implemented in various aspects. This year, as I mentioned, we have 5 teams. They already went through rigorous selection. Only restricted in terms of time of your presentation. You are given 5 minutes to your pitch.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Going Nuclear. I have a special guest with me today. You've seen her in many of my videos, like our Reactor tour in Jamaica and also in New York City Climate Week. Her name is Dr. Dinara Ermakova. She has a background in nuclear engineering, and she's also very involved in the International Nuclear Congress, where we are right now, especially in the Innovation for Nuclear competition. So Dinara, welcome.
Thank you so much, Osama. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very honored to speak to you today as a part of this podcast.
Happy to have you. So you are doing a lot of incredible things in the industry in terms of leadership, in terms of participation in different organizations. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've done so far.
Perfect. Thank you for the question. I'm Dinara, born and raised in Kazakhstan. Right now I live in the United States, but a little bit about my background. I got my degree in nuclear physics, and I got my job experience in nuclear industry and realized about all the potential from nuclear power, and basically that let me move on with higher education, getting my PhD at UC Berkeley, get more involved with other initiatives like Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp, IYNC, where we are today. Innovation for Nuclear is part of IYNC. It's a big contest where we invite different teams to present their innovative ideas, and teams should be part of the youth congress as well. And we have very diverse set of teams this year. 5 teams, one coming from South Africa, one coming from Spain, one Germany, one from UK, and one from US. So that's, I think that's amazing to have all these ideas coming from very, very young members of nuclear community. And that's also worth mentioning, it's nuclear professional community. So IYNC is really about bringing all aspects of nuclear professionals into one congress to connect with each other, connect to mentors, connect to local groups and mini groups, depending on interest, depending on the research topics, or if we want to start a new career. This is where we get a lot of advisory. But at the same time, I'm here as the chair for innovation, is basically to organize the teams to present during the contest.
That's really cool. Thanks for that overview. And tell me about this innovation competition, Innovation for Nuclear. It sounds like it's a competition of a very global perspective, bring together innovative minds from across the world. Tell us about first of all, what does innovation mean to you in nuclear? And second, what is this innovation competition about?
First question is, what is innovation? That's a good question because many people think, oh, it's just new concept. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes you can take very old concept. Many concepts of current startups, for example, were developed in 70s. They can be found in archives, and it's just the matter of time that now they're becoming current again, just because the market changed, because we have more interest in nuclear. And now innovation is to bring those old concepts and make sure they get to the market. So that might be part of innovation. Sometimes innovation is making some things more efficient, because right now we have a surge of AI tools. And of course, nuclear will be one of the fields where we will implement all the different AI tools. They've already been implemented in various aspects of nuclear field. And right now we're innovating the regulatory framework. I've seen there is a lot of innovation in terms of reactor design, using new concepts, and then innovating the law as well. So like little by little, we're adding a bit more efficiency to existing systems, and that also innovation. And then innovation in financing. So it's like everything can be optimized, everything can be made better, but then at the end of the day, we want to see that solution implemented on the market, so everyone could benefit from that, not just sitting on, not just as a research in the lab. We see that a lot, but when the thing goes into the actual use, this is when I see, oh, we're innovating. So that's important. In terms of the contest, we have local chapters. IYNC is a global organization that has many members, and those members are local chapters. For example, European Young Generation Nuclear. We have North American Young Generation Nuclear, of course, South American as well. And then within those, we have member organization like, I mean, France, Italy, Spain, Kenya, and so on. Like all the countries, they also can be members, and every member can have their own teams to present. Again, depends on how many people want to participate. Every regional organization is responsible to select their best of the best team. Basically, European Young Generation Nuclear, they selected one team last year, one team this year. African Young Generation Nuclear, they only had contest once in 2 years. Pretty much aligned with frequency of International Youth Nuclear Congress. Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp is also our partner, and they have annual contest, meaning they send 2 teams every 2 years when we have the competition. And this year, as I mentioned, we have 5 teams. They already went through rigorous selection, and basically now it's global recognition to show that, hey, their project is really innovative, it really brings value as an idea. So we don't expect the startups, or like, we don't expect the teams to have
an operating nuclear reactor.
Exactly. It's a concept, and the competition is more like a pitch competition. Of course, they're not gonna get like $100,000 prize like an accelerator, but a more like a recognition and motivation for even having this discussion of youth bringing these crazy ideas into the market. And actually, interesting thing, sometimes those ideas they get into actual market. Today, for example, we had meeting of Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp alumni. So I'm alumna of 2019 Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp that was in Paris. And I became organizer right after. I just so much enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed working with other students and young professionals, with mentors, and decided, okay, I'm gonna help organizing, and so still helping. And then this year I met one of the alumni who started the company in Italy, and now it's going pretty well. Yes, that's not the only example. We also had another alumni from early years, and then another from that we're able to get to accelerator in France. But of course, it's really hard to get the timing right with nuclear. Right now, it's really booming. Like this year would be the perfect time to get any startup on the market. 2-3 years ago, that was tough.
Yeah.
Like there was not enough interest, there was not enough funding, and I think if we would roll out those startups again, or those startups ideas again, we could see more startups coming from Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp or one of the YGN member organizations.
Yeah, so let's deep dive a bit more into this competition. What's the format of this competition? What's the criteria like for this competition? How open-ended is it? Is there certain restrictions or boundaries placed? Tell us a little bit more about the competition itself.
I will tell that it's pretty open-ended. Like, you only restricted in terms of time of your presentation. You are given 5 minutes to a pitch, and then 5 minutes to Q&A session. Within those 5 minutes, you just need to explain the concept. So all the jury members understand what's going on actually with this concept, like whether it brings any value to humanity. And sometimes teams, they advance enough to even show some financial models, which is like, for me, it's incredible when you have just a concept idea and you work through the business model and financial model that shows like you did a good market research and found whether there is a demand for the type of solution you are presenting. With that, the clarity of presentation is one side, the innovation part is another side, and then of course whether there have been done work in terms of the models or assessment of the market. They're pretty open-ended, and of course it's preparation of the team, whether they have worked on the concept enough to basically make convincing story. Same as with any startup, it's basically selling the idea. If it's sellable, jury members will agree that, oh my God, this is the best idea in the world. I myself, I was also participating in IYNC Ideas for Nuclear in 2020, because during Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp, our team was a winner. And so we came to Australia to present the same idea. And that was a lot of rehearsal, making sure that we could convince any audience that this idea is important, even though I can tell you the concept. Our concept was to use small modular reactors to restore glacier ice in Antarctica. Like crazy as it is.
Wow.
Yes.
Like refrigeration capability.
Exactly. Like for us it was, let's take the craziest idea and try to make the business case of it. And you know, it was so out of normal for jury that they really liked. They're like, okay, that's unconventional.
Wow.
Yeah. And with that in mind, we won the Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp, and then during IYNC we also won because again, that was very unconventional idea. Nobody thought about it. It's like innovation in a nutshell. Like how out of box can you think about the use of nuclear reactors?
Another idea I've heard of is like taking the Sahara and turning it green through just nuclear power reactors.
Yes. I mean, the desalination plant and ideas, that's something being discussed as well, and that's super feasible. But how feasible is it to restore some ice?
Crazy.
It is, but it is something that that we came up during the bootcamp and then showed at IYNC as well.
So you're really in the space of innovation. Like you have this passion towards being that innovation chair and developing those, this conference, which gives people the opportunity to showcase their ideas. But also, even in your work, you're also taking that innovative approach where, nuclear startup, right? So tell me about like what are the pillars of innovation, especially in an industry like nuclear. What do you think can set an idea apart from the rest?
It's always about timing, I think, because from what I see, a lot depends on how market changes. Like a year ago, nobody really thought about use of nuclear for data centers. Well, maybe we thought about it, but not as extensively as today, because the first demand was from utilities, like cover the electricity. Right now we get a lot of signals. Now, actually, the data centers on its own, they're innovating. The AI is progressing. We need more and more capacity to cover the appetite for AI. And that completely changes how the nuclear might look in the future, like in the future 5 to 10 years. And demand changes. So timing, a market, and then demand from like your future customer. That's basically what sets the innovation in the place, like we can implement it. Of course, in terms of the actual companies, how it operates, a lot of innovations happen because you test a lot of concepts. I can tell you a little bit more about the importance of testing, trying many things, but if your company really has that ability to iterate fail early, break things on the way. That helps you innovate really quickly. Maybe on the design side, maybe on the procedure side. Like you see the flaws, you see where you can optimize things, make it simpler, remove systems or remove procedures. That's already an innovation. So if whatever you do in iterative method helps you minimize some actions or material use, that's already innovation, and that's something that keeps your company be more efficient. And same goes for any processes like financing, for regulatory framework. We want to innovate that.
Yeah.
Because right now that's really a lot of demand as to how can we make a procedure with our regulators, regardless of the country, more streamlined, a bit more adaptive for advanced reactors, because they have so many inherent safety features. So do we really need to have that procedure that was used for older type reactors, like previous generation reactors, or can we use new procedures, just taking into account the updates and innovations that we already considering for generation 4 reactors?
Yeah, definitely. There's a broad width of innovation that's happening in the industry and continuing to happen. I think, like when you look at the innovation space and where companies are moving, right? Like I see a lot of companies embracing innovation roles, right? Whether it be utilities, vendors, it be startups. In terms of the trajectory of that, where do you see that going?
I would say big corporations that used to do business as usual for many years, they see that there is a surge of new companies that do things in a more optimized way, faster way, especially with the surge of AI. Now you can really cut some processes out, and that pushes bigger organizations that are really harder to change. Really, they are so massive that it takes massive amount of work to change their business strategy and business case. So right now they're really looking into how to innovate different sections or like the structure of a company just to keep up with the pace of smaller, more agile companies. It's becoming really competitive in terms of the variety of services offered on the market, and bigger companies, they have to compete with those smaller vendors that are more agile and can be adapting better to wider range of clientele. Of course, depends, but this is something that we see in terms of like bigger corporations, why they want to have this innovation roles. They always were there in terms of the way the companies worked. But of course, it's important to have allocated strategy and innovation team that would think about the new products or products that need to be updated based on the current market demand. Because again, as I said, market changes so quick right now. Like before, we had one product for many, many years. Like probably our parents didn't have this problem because they have like one line of shoes that was offered for everyone. It didn't innovate for many years just because it served the purpose. Right now we have like different shoes for running, for exercising. I mean, that's one example from daily life. But same happens within the nuclear industry. Just things change. We have not only one nuclear design. We have like what we discussed. It's 60 different designs right now around the globe. It's important to understand what kind of needs they try to cover, and for other teams to understand the competitive advantages of each other and innovate in a way that targets specific customer. Hope I answered the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that definitely it's good to paint that picture. I think when you go online, you go on platforms like YouTube or Spotify, you can't, like, these are industry insights that you can't find online, right? You may find a lot of marketing material, right, from companies, but that's very specific, a bird's eye view of what's going on the ground. I think one other thing that I want to focus on is innovation in the current reactor fleets, right? So like, for some reason, people think that power plants are kind of these turnkey reactors that you set aside and they just keep operating for 30 years, right? But hey, there's so many innovations, operating of nuclear reactors, performance efficiencies, even to the point where chemistry, right? Like corrosion control and maintenance and of systems which extend the longevity, right? What are your thoughts on like current existing reactor fleets?
Current existing reactor fleet is actually the place where we start all the innovation. The audience might Google the digital twin concept. That's one of the concepts that really makes things so much easier in terms of the maintenance of a nuclear power plant or even construction of a nuclear power plant, because you already have the concept of how it's going to look like. And then if there is anything going on the maintenance side, you understand what exactly you need to fix instead of shutting down an entire reactor and try to find one particular valve that probably need to be replaced. On the fuel side for existing reactors, we also started innovating. Basically, before we used to only order fuel from the company that built the reactor. Right now, the market changed, and that also inflicted the need to have multiple suppliers of the fuel for different reactors. So it's also very much in an innovation because we're changing the status quo. Same with supply chain. Like, can we use some off-the-shelf materials? Like, if before we only could supply materials for nuclear plants that had to be nuclear grade, right now there are a lot of concepts that reviewing off-the-shelf parts, especially for advanced reactors, because there are so many concept with inherent safety within the reactor system. So you basically don't need as many layers of safety needed outside. And so those parts can be off the shelf. Only examples that I can bring right now, so not to take much time, but there are many more on existing reactors as well.
Yeah, I think this was a great chat, overview of innovation in the industry, and also like this remarkable initiative that you're leading, Innovation for Nuclear Competition, helping provide the opportunity for those in the industry to come in, bring their amazing ideas together. Even at this IYNC, I met a lot of delegates that were from the last FRN competition, and so it's increasing engagement. So do you have any last messages for the audience?
Yeah, I think we can consider what we're doing right now is innovation in education. Innovation for nuclear is also part of innovation education because we're approaching the outreach to young generation in a different form. And coming from the fact that market right now is different, we are working with different generation that's more focused on the visual content, shorter content, and because of that we cannot just give them a bunch of books, because I mean they can read the book of course, but would it be as engaging, would it be as interesting? So that also shapes an entire section of educative content. And to last, I want to suggest everyone to participate in Nuclear Innovation Bootcamp, be part of next Congress in 2 years. We haven't chosen the host country yet. That will be announced today, but that will be exciting to see more people coming to International Youth Nuclear Congress. Especially for me, it will be exciting to see more teams, more than 5 teams. If we have 12, if we have 30, the more the merrier at the Innovation for Nuclear contests, because every idea need to be presented. I know all the young people, they have their crazy ideas that they call crazy, but no idea is crazy, because at some point there is a market that will accept that idea. It's just the right timing. But with ideas for nuclear, you can present any idea. We will be happy to listen, to judge and give feedback.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again for this chat, Dinara. It was great. Truly a pleasure talking to you and reconnecting with you. And looking forward to the audience if they want to find out more about Innovation for Nuclear Bootcamp, you can check that out in the description below. And we'll catch you next time. Till then, take care. Bye.